forgot to link the Twitch. Well, at least I got one. 80's pretty slow though. This sucks. Damn it. Hello, Frozen Alex 32. You skipped two? Well, we're gonna talk about web browsers and React most of the time. It's gonna be fun, I suppose, for some people. Two is kind of an important session, though. Just a little bit. Is it really poggers though? Is it? I mean, I don't know. Is it not poggers? You tell me. I mean, I'm opinionated, so, and you will definitely hear my opinions on, I suppose, quote unquote, modern React and why I don't like hooks. But like, if you take out all that, I think it's pretty okay. Why I don't like hooks? Why? What's poggers? Do you have better BTTV? It's one of those emotes. Hooks are the worst. I agree. Hooks are pretty stupid. Hooks are not fine. Hooks are not fine. They're not the worst, but they're pretty bad. I don't like hooks. Did I miss your Python rant in the previous session? I couldn't attend. We'll talk more about Python in this one. Are the past sessions available? Yep, they're on YouTube. You can check the Discord. For fast component creation, they are good. Are they though? Yeah, well, like I said, I'm opinionated, so take everything that I say in this session with a grain of salt. I'm also not a professional React developer. This is just one guy's, opinions. Like, if you like hooks, then there's nothing stopping you from using them, but I don't use them because Redux is the only thing worse than hooks. Changed my mind. I'll just say that I like Redux more than I like hooks. Let's just say that. Hot takes only here, okay? I like Redux more than I like hooks. Brand spanking new to coding. Am I going to be last year? Yes. Yeah, you are. How do I do this again? It's like Shift F5. Whoops, that's wrong. How do I present Control F5? Okay. Speaker notes. Pointer. I mean, I don't know how to center a div, and don't really care either. I'm not gonna go over it. CSS is too much for me sometimes. Like, I don't really know how to do it. CSS is like in my career, I think the most difficult thing that I've ever done was with CSS, I think. Like legitimately, like the thing that made me pull my hair out the most at work was just this one thing with CSS. It's not even like it's just like drawing boxes inside an image. It was so hard. And then when I got it done, I'm just like, oh my god, this is so useless. But it's like core functionality of the program or something, of the application or something. So like, you know, we couldn't take it out. Yeah. It's like, you know, other like code things, like you could just like kind of just like write it down, and you know, you can get something that works. But with CSS, it either works or it doesn't work, and you just don't know what the fuck you're doing half the time. CSS just makes sense to you? Then I guess you're a fucking genius, man. Like, I don't know, man. CSS is just no. Oh man, you've been front ending for like 5 years. I mean, there you go. Like, I haven't been front ending like for a long time, but it's just like, dude, it's so hard, man. So. Okay, well, it's 12 noon, and hello everybody, and welcome to the 4th session of the Intro to Full Stack Dev workshop on HealthyGamer. So for today, we're going to talk about what exactly is a web browser. You guys are watching this on Twitch or YouTube. If you're a VOD viewer, you're watching this on a web browser, probably. What exactly are you using? We'll talk about the technologies behind the web, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. And we'll talk about why people use these things called web frameworks to build websites. So, what is a web browser? And web browsers have, in general, 2 parts to them. The first is the internet client, you know, things that can talk to servers across the internet, right? So, for example, there are command line utilities that function as internet clients, like curl and wget. You can talk to a server that way, and the server will give you their static content back, and it's fine. You could download files with an internet client with curl or wget. The second part of a web browser is the renderer, which takes these text files, HTML and CSS, and displays it to you in a way that allows for interactivity. Right? And web browsers have been around since like the early 90s, I suppose. Like, one of the reasons why the web is kind of the way it is right now is because it was around since the early 90s and people didn't really know what the web was going to be. So we have to maintain backwards compatibility with all those old websites, really. And so they do provide a fairly stable API if you wanted to, you know, just create a raw web page. So HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. A markup language annotates a document. So for example, if you have a Word document, Microsoft Word document, you're writing a markup language, basically. If you open a .doc or .docx file in Notepad, for example, you can see the underlying markup behind Microsoft Word. And you'll see that it looks fairly similar to an actual HTML document because it's just XML under the hood. Like also, like if you type in Discord and you italicize something, or you like quote something, or you bold something, you're writing Markdown, which is another markup language. HTML by itself is pretty dull. Is binary? Not really. It's kind of, at least I don't like. There was a point in time where you definitely could open a docx file with like a notepad. Yeah, it's XML under the hood. It's a zip file of an XML, basically, is what it is. Okay. So HTML by itself is pretty boring. This is HTML. This is just naked HTML, right? You just have some bolded text. You have links to maybe another website, and you just have like paragraphs and things like that. Professor Strain was probably my favorite professor when I was a student at Berkeley. So yeah, this is classic HTML. It's just text and with links to other places. Whoops, shit. 5. Why does this happen? Why can't I do this? CSS then stands for cascading style sheets, which is basically, some rules that govern how HTML elements look like. So like, font properties like color or bold or italics or whatever. Alignments, like people always talk about, how do you center an element with CSS? And this is this is apparently not a solved problem still, but CSS also has you can do like calculations with CSS, things like animations, like rotations, translations, drawing shapes with like vector graphics, I think. And they're called cascading because the rules that you use to determine which style applies to a given element like cascades down from its parents, basically. And we may or may not get into more of it, but it's very complicated. Okay, I don't really know how to describe CSS other than just try and use it with words. It's like, this is honestly the best I can do. Okay, and then finally JavaScript. JavaScript is a very basic scripting language. It was originally only intended to sprinkle little tiny bits of interactivity in otherwise static documents. So like if you have a Word document, it's not interactive, right? You can't click things and have things, animate or whatever. And JavaScript was originally supposed to be able to just like, for that. You click a thing, and it like maybe opens a page and like moves something around or whatever. And they do this because web browsers have a JavaScript engine that can look at the document and manipulate it. But, people were not satisfied with just bits of interactivity in static documents. They wanted to do more with it. So Microsoft was the first company to actually do this in 1996, and they used it for their email client, Microsoft Outlook, basically like loading emails without having to refresh the page. Nowadays, JavaScript is used to build, entire applications that were once desktop applications, like this one. This is a web application. You're running PowerPoint on your web browser instead of having to install Microsoft PowerPoint. No. Why does it close my notes every time? Why can't it just open? Oops. Oh shit. Oops. The first full JavaScript web application was actually Gmail. Like they were both, email clients. So you can blame Google for the current proliferation of JavaScript web apps if you really care about it. JavaScript today is used for much more than web browsers. For example, Node.js is a JavaScript engine that they basically ripped out of Chrome, and you use it to just run arbitrary code nowadays. So when we talk about web development, we refer to this front-end development on websites, creating an HTML, CSS, and JavaScript bundle that can be consumed by our browsers for end users to use. This can be extremely tedious if you're working on raw HTML. Okay, this is in all caps. HTML is not a programming language. HTML is not a programming language. It's in the name. It's in the name. It's a markup language. It's a markup language. It's not a programming language. Stop saying HTML is a programming language. It's not. It's like saying Microsoft Word is a programming language. If you're writing a Word document, you're not programming. It's the same goddamn thing. HTML is not a programming language. Please, don't say HTML is a programming language. Okay? But like, how then do people actually create these complicated web applications like the one that we're using right now? And that's done with web frameworks, software libraries that facilitate development of front-end websites. So these can be broadly divided into two categories: server-side and client-side. A client-side framework downloads all the code to render every part of the application at once. And as you navigate around the website, you invoke this code that will update the page without having to refresh the web page. So for example, Twitch.tv and YouTube, actually, if you're a VOD browser, if you're watching this on a VOD, is a client-side. You use this client-side web frameworks, and you know that because if you navigate to a different stream, you don't refresh the page, right? Like the page stays the same. You just update the content inside it. That's how you know that this is actually a client-side framework. That they use client-side frameworks like Angular, like React, or Vue. One of the downsides for client-side frameworks is that your first page load is generally longer because you have to download all the code to execute, to view any page. Like they don't know which pages you're going to look at. You kind of just need to load all of them. So the first page load is usually longer. There are some tricks that you can use to get around this, but one of the upsides is you don't have to like refresh the page afterwards. A server-side rendered framework basically only sends you the code for a single page at a time. And if you navigate away, you need to get a new page, basically. Like, and these, for example, like any server-side, like any PHP framework is server-side rendered. Django, the Python framework, is server-side rendered. It's, they exist. They're not like one of these is not necessarily better. Like they just have to, like, again, all engineering has trade-offs. It's up to you which one. Static server-side rendering is when you take a client-side web framework, you pre-compute what like the initial page is, and then you send that along with the rest of your JavaScript bundle so that the first page loads faster, but you still have all the JavaScript to be able to navigate around without having to refresh the page again. So like this is a very popular option, using a client-side framework like React or Vue or whatever, and then rendering it on the server too. So I gotta talk about this. Like, I gotta talk about this. People say that people hate JavaScript. People think JavaScript is the worst thing in the universe. And this is half true. This is half true. First off, Python is several orders of magnitude slower than JavaScript. Like, okay. You know why Python is faster? Python is faster here because they cheat and they use a C library. This benchmark measures C and not JavaScript and not Python. You scroll down and then what the fuck? A spectral norm is just a linear algebra calculation. Why the hell is Python 100 times slower than JavaScript? I don't know. But like, people always say JavaScript is slow. Python is 100 times slower. Is it really cheating when you use the features of the language? Well, in a benchmark, yeah, because you're not measuring the language. You're measuring a different language, and you're saying no. Like, Python is 100 times slower than JavaScript? What the fuck? People never think about that. But the question then is, why are web pages so slow then? Why do web pages take forever to load? Why do they take forever to update? Why does it take forever, like, when you want to interact with them? In my experience, in my opinion, it's because of how JavaScript is executed. JavaScript generally has pretty good single-threaded performance. Like, in some workloads, JavaScript is honestly on par with Java. And people always say that Java is Java's like slower than C, but it's acceptably, and like, it's around the same thing. So why is it web page? So how do web browsers actually function when you navigate to a page? When you go to a website, the first thing that the server gives you is a single file. One document that describes the entire page, because that's how HTTP works. It can only send you one thing at a time. And this file has, in this HTML file, it has either inline CSS, inline JavaScript, or it has links to other files that tell the web browser, hey, you need to go here and you have to download this other file for this to run. And when you do that, it has to drop everything else. Like, web browsers cannot like proceed without it. When it sees a JavaScript file, it has to block and wait for your thing to download. Okay, so the more like links you have to other places, like, the slower it is, because it has to download these things, before it comes in. Like, okay, you can't render a page until you both download all the things and you have to parse all of the JavaScript, all the CSS, and compile it, basically. Browsers cannot do incremental rendering. So because of this blocking execution models, JavaScript interpreters have two parts to it. The first time is the baseline. When you get a text of JavaScript, you just get some JavaScript text and you just output unoptimized bytecode as fast as possible. Just like nothing. You just get it, you get it, and you parse it out as fast as possible. They have a second optimizing compiler that runs continuously and updates the existing bytecode to make, because JavaScript nowadays, like, you can't run modern web without JavaScript, basically. We have to get it as fast as possible. So they have an optimizing compiler in the background that updates whatever the baseline output. So here's the problem now. When you're running JavaScript, that execution is single-threaded. Only one thing can be happening at a time on your web page, because interpreters are single-threaded. Everything, rendering, updates, user interactions, all of this blocks other things from happening. But this is a problem. Like, we want to be doing multiple things at a time in a web page. How do we get around this? And the answer that web browsers have have come up with is something called a web API, which is different from web APIs that we did in the last session. It's an unfortunate name. These are browser level functions that JavaScript's runtimes can call to run things in parallel. So for example, like timeout, like just sleep the thread is a web API, because if you can't block this single JavaScript thread. You call the browser creates a timer, it runs the timer, and then it returns to the single JavaScript thread the result. For example, network calls are also, a web API. The browser opens a new thread, it does the network call, it receives the network response, and then it gives the JavaScript thread the result to play with later. Okay. So you have the single JavaScript thread running. It sends a web API, and it goes into the browser's thread pool. And the browser, once it's done, pushes the result into the callback queue. Say, hey JavaScript, I have your result. Here you go. You can use it whenever you're free. These callbacks only execute when no other code is running. Okay? It has to finish everything else before it can touch the result of your network call, for example. Any long-running calculation, like a render update or just really anything, or like, an ad that's running some JavaScript on your web page, will block your updates from happening. The more things that are happening in your web page, the slower it is, which is kind of obvious when you think about it, right? But that's why ad blockers make your web browser faster. There's just less things running on your page, so there's more time for the actual web page itself to run its updates. Okay, and if you're constantly running code, like if you're a scroll handler is basically if you scroll up and down with the mouse wheel and you run code on that, if you're doing that, you're just adding more things that block the single thread, so less things can run. So people who don't know anything said, well, JavaScript is slow. How can we make it faster? And they said, and they came up with this thing called WebAssembly. So WebAssembly will fix the web. And the answer is no, it's not going to fix the web. And that's because WebAssembly still shares a single JavaScript thread. If you're a bad programmer, you're still just going to block the thread. And it's still going to be a thing. Like, is it going to be faster? Sure. Like, a little bit. But it doesn't fix the problem, which is the callback queue. And WebAssembly is not a panacea. It's not going to fix the web, because bad programmers are still bad. They're still gonna put in stupid scroll handlers that just keep adding code to the callback queue and blocks everything else from happening. And I just want to say, I think last session somebody said Python has async await semantics similar to JavaScript, and the answer is no, not really, because Python doesn't even have this. Python doesn't even have an extra thread pool that it can run things on. Everything in Python is single threaded, including async coroutines. So it's actually really stupid, because there is no speed up for using asynchronous functions in Python, at all, because everything is single threaded. Everything runs on the single thread. So if you push control to a different coroutine, everything else is blocked anyway. It doesn't matter, and just the the overhead of switching contexts like that makes async code slower in Python than just straight synchronous everything. It's really stupid. And if you don't believe me, it's really easy to prove me wrong. Just show me that it does. You can't do it. Python's async await semantics are just bonkers. Stupid. Okay. That's actually the entirety of today's lecture. We're gonna go straight to code now. That's literally everything you need to know about web browsers. Okay. Okay. Yeah, like, just so you know, like, let's talk about how to read this, right? So seconds is obviously how long it takes for the entire function to terminate. Memory is, I'm pretty sure this is in bytes, so this takes 22 kilobytes, I guess. And Node.js does take up a lot of memory, more than Python, but like come on, memory is pretty cheap nowadays. Like, this is nothing. I'll take 60 kilobytes if it runs 100 times faster. GZ means how big is the function, just like how much code there is, I think. It's just like how big this file is. And busy is interesting because busy, like, so you basically, each core is running at some time, and busy basically adds up all that together. So you can see that in Python, all the cores are basically 100% loaded. So you can basically take this, multiply by 4, and that's your busy time. Yeah, it's compressed, but it doesn't matter. Like, it's just like, it's not raw bytes. It's gzipped compressed. It doesn't matter. It's just like how big the code is. So I guess, you know, Node.js is more verbose than Python. Whoop-de-doo. I'll take it if it's 100 times faster. Oh, and if you don't believe me, like, Node.js versus Java, like, Node.js is, like, compared to Java is actually, like, ridiculous. Like, I could not believe this when I first saw these results. Like, I would expect, like, Node.js to be like 20 times slower than Java, but it's like, it's not. Google has done a fantastic job with the single thread performance. Python go burr? No! Python go burr? No. It's the opposite. Python does not go burr. It's the opposite, man. Okay. So if you want to start a React project, you know, you download this thing called Create React App, basically. So you can't really see it. You download this thing called Create React App, and it's exactly what it says. It'll create a React app for you. -- TypeScript says no. Instead of, you know, raw JavaScript, I want to use TypeScript, because you shouldn't be using raw JavaScript. You should be using TypeScript, and this will take some time. And this is going to take a while, so, because it's got to download like 2,000 packages from npm. Should I see past videos first? In this case, no. I think this one is fairly self-contained for now, so you can if you want to, but I think you're free to stay if you want. Node modules 1 terabyte. Okay, added 1596 packages from 745 contributors and audited 1600 packages in 40 seconds. Yep. Never opened node modules. Never ever. Just don't do it. Oh, you know, that was pretty fast, I guess. It was like a minute, maybe. Okay. So ls, it creates front end for us. And let's just go inside. what does it make for us? So it creates node modules. Don't look inside 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 package lock. Don't look inside package lock. And public is just a couple of things. Like index.html. Like if you have a React app, you still need like a basic HTML document, because remember, web browsers, this is what servers give to your web browser when you go to your website. And it has links to, let's see. And yeah, it has links to your favicon. So favicon is like this right here, like these icons in your web browser, like what that is. And it has some other things that you don't really care about. So, oops, npm build, let's run build. Isn't the trade-off of TS that the increased verbosity increases the amount of time it takes to ship something? Okay, for one thing, the verbosity is not that much bigger, and I suppose if you're working on a project by yourself, you don't need it. But like as soon as like the headaches that like I would prefer like compile time errors are better than runtime errors. It's better that you see the pain instead of your customer. So if you have any like users like ever, just in like because you don't know your entire program, like oh fucking hell, I forgot.
There's a reminder for Edward.
God damn it, dude. Oh my fucking god, I'm so stupid. Anyways, so yeah. Okay, so npm start, whatever. Npm start. Localhost 3000. So yeah, when you start create React app, this is what the page that it looks like basically. This is the page that it gives you. And inspect. That worked. Let's just restart this again. Empty cache and hard reload. So when you load a web page, the first thing that you get is, what the hell? Yeah, the first thing that you get is this. Well, not actually this. First thing that you get is this. This is all you get. And then this tells you, hey, you need to load bundle.js, you need to load chunk.js, you need to load main, you need to load all the stuff. Yeah, it says you need to load these. And then once these are loaded, the React app, the React code inside here, sources, JS. The React code in here takes control and it will update your web page for you. RIP SEO, yeah. I mean, that's also one, like I don't care about search engine optimization right now. It's like what's important is getting productive, I suppose. And it's fine. So first things first, we're gonna exit out of here. We're going to go to CDK. And we want to deploy this web page to the public internet so people can see it. The first thing that I'm going to do is I need to actually, oops, that's the wrong file. CDK stack. What's the first thing that I need to do? First thing that I need to do is I need to be able to do this. Is it list or is it describe? Is it both? I don't remember. It's a list, I think. So, const net policy. You thought we were doing a React stream? Nope. It's actually just this stream. List hosted zones. And this has to come first because I need the permissions first. I guess this props that is a zone ID. How does this even work? I don't remember. What did I do? Sorry, I have my notes out and I have to. I'll just give it everything. Just give it everything. It's fine. Project dot add to policy. Great. Git diff. That's it. Git commit am. Add list hosted zone policy to CDK compile. The star magic again. In this case, it doesn't really matter. It's just like being able to read it. It's fine. So which one was it? I think it was this one. Yep. Add this hosted zone. This will compile, and this will add that policy to right here. That's what we need. So why do I need this? Touch lib front stack dot increase the font size a bit. Let's see, how do I do that again? There it is. Export class frontend stack CDK. Constructor app CDK dot app. This is the same shit every time. Okay, first thing that I need to do is get my hosted zone. So remember hosted zones, we talked about it in the first session. They're an AWS resource that basically configures your domain name. First thing I need to do is get it. Do I need anything else? Yeah, I actually do need a couple of things. A, B, C, blah, blah, blah. Oops. Certificates. Certificate manager. Is that certificate? Certificate manager. English is hard. Manager. And CloudFront. And oh, I need one more thing. Targets. Okay, install. Did I misspell it? I probably misspelled it. I'm so bad at typing. Okay. Certificate. Oh, fucking hell. Fuck, what am I even doing right now? Certificate. Did I spell this right? Yeah, I think so. I think I spelled it right. Jesus Christ. There we go. Do you even touch type, bro? No, I'm actually really bad at typing. Like, yeah, I've been trying to get better. I think I'm really bad. Like, it's not the typing part that's hard. It's the, it's just the spelling part, really. I don't know, cause I'm like, I don't know, man. I'm really bad at typing. Don't bully me. I'm really bad at typing. Don't bully me. Don't bully me. Hosted zone equals. No bully, please. You would expect a professional software engineer to be actually decent at typing. You would be wrong. Okay, because we already have a hosted zone, we don't need to create a new one. We just want to get it from, we just want to be able to like import the one that we already have. From hosted zone attributes. This site hosted zone. And props. What props do we need? Yeah, I mean type. So I need the ID and I need the name of the hosted zone, which is fine. Hosted zone ID equals, we'll just call it this props dot. We'll just pass it in. Hosted zone ID and zone name. Props dot hosted zone. Like, this is kind of silly, you know, API developers. What, like, these refer to the same thing. So why is one a hosted zone? Why is the other one a zone? That's kind of weird. Who knows, man? Hosted zone ID string. Make it consistent, please. Okay, if you also remember from session 1, we need an S3 bucket. So site bucket, we need an S3 bucket that's going to be used to house our thing. This site bucket. And for the properties, the only thing that we need, let's just take a look just to show you. So this one, bucket. The only thing that I need to give it to is this one, website index document. Enable static website hosting. That's all I need to give it, and that's fine. Website index document, and we'll call this index.html. And that sets up my website, and that sets up my bucket for static website hosting. You remember I went, like, if you remember, and if you watched session 1, you remember that I clicked some buttons and I did some things, and yeah, this does that all for you. Okay, the next thing that we need is a certificate. Oh my god, here we go again. Can I spell it right this time? I think I did. I think that's right. Certificate manager. Certificate. So, I need a certificate. What is a certificate? So you see here, it says HTTPS. S stands for secure. It says you can probably trust that this website will not, leak all your information. So the problem is, how do I know? How do I know that I can trust this website? Do I trust Amazon to not leak my shit? And the way you do that is by getting a certificate from a known certificate authority. Basically, that certificate authority has cryptographic information that you use to encrypt your communications with the website, basically. And if you get it from a reputable cert authority, you have a chain of trust, basically. So you're trusting the website, and the website says, okay, even if you don't exactly trust me, I'm backed up by these people who are trustworthy. So, these people have been validated, and they are standards approved to be trustworthy. You can trust that our implementations are secure. Amazon is obviously not the only people who is a cert authority. You can get these for free. Like, even Amazon will give you certificates for free because everybody gives them for free. You don't have to use them. You can, if you want, get it from somewhere else and just import it. Right? Like, the chain is the chain of trust that the certificate has. I got my certificate from this guy, and that person is backed up by these corporations who are, standards compliant or whatever. So if I want to say that, hey, if I want my web browser to say my connection is secure, I need a certificate. The certificate here is valid. It's the certificate for this website was issued by Amazon. It's valid until 2021. It proves my identity to the website, the server that hosts this website, and it ensures the identity of the server is who it says it is. Okay. Issued by Amazon, public key, the cryptographic information, the public key, things like this. And here's the chain of trust. The website is issued, the certificate on the website is issued by Amazon, which is issued by Amazon's cert authority, which is backed up by this corporation called Starfield. And if I want a certificate, and if you remember in session 1, I didn't get a certificate. I could only access my website through not HTTPS, but just HTTP. My connection to that website that I rickrolled people on was not secure because I don't have it. I didn't get a certificate. Okay, I also need domain name. What website do I want the certificate to secure? You can't secure the entire web with a single certificate. That's just ridiculous. You can't do that. So I need a domain name. And I'll just wildcard it. I don't care. We're not being super careful. Validation method. Validation method, DNS. Subject, alternative names. Alternative names on your certificate. You can't secure the entire web with a single certificate. But if you own a domain name, you can, you have other, what's the term? Is it top level? No, it's not top level. I don't know. You have other, places that your domain name can redirect to. For example, Amazon.com is a domain name, but they also own, AWS.amazon.com. This probably has a just different certificate. This may or may not have a different certificate from, the website, the retail shop. Props.domain name. And here's an interesting thing. www. Your domain name is different from just your domain name. Domain name. Just Amazon.com is called the Apex domain. It's separate from, other qualified domain names like AWS, like www.amazon.com. Like they have to be validated separately. So, 2 more things. A top level domain? Okay, yeah, I couldn't remember the phrase. So, CloudFront. What is CloudFront? Your website lives probably on a single server. You can do tricks to have your website served by multiple servers at once, but the question is, how do you redirect viewers to those different servers, right? One way to do it is through what's called a CDN, a content distribution network. Right? A CDN is a cache, basically. CloudFront and I think the most popular one is Cloudflare, basically caches your website at servers that are closer to regional users, basically. So my bucket is going to live in Virginia. I don't want people to have to get a connection all the way to Virginia just to be able to see my website. If you live in, for example, I live on the West Coast, I want to be redirected to a server on the West Coast because that's faster for me. It's just closer. That's how speed of light works, right? That's what a CDN does. They automatically will host your website on the servers that are closer to your users, and they will automatically redirect users to those servers instead of the root one. You don't have to use CloudFront. I think, like I said, Cloudflare is the most popular, I'm pretty sure. And they're probably the most robust, let's be real. People don't really use CloudFront. So, the only reason I'm using CloudFront is it delivery. I can't remember delivery or distribution. It's the same thing. It's the same thing, right? People don't really use CloudFront. The only reason I'm using it is because it integrates well with CDK. It doesn't fucking matter. You probably should just use Cloudflare. As an Amazon employee, I'm saying you should probably use Cloudflare. Okay. But there is one good thing that it does, and it does integrate nicely with AWS's infrastructure as code stuff. Fired? Whatever, man. Whatever, man. CloudFront. CloudFront web distribution. This site distribution, if I can spell correctly. Okay, what do I need? I I need an origin config. Configs. It's plural, so it has to be an array. My source in this case is not an actual server, it's my S3 bucket. So I need to use S3 origin source. And that takes an S3 bucket as a source. It's just the bucket, right? It's just the bucket. And origin access identity. We're going to need origin access identities, but we'll just add a placeholder here for now. And I need a behavior. Behaviors. It's complaining I need a behavior. What's required? Nothing's apparently required. That's kind of weird. But is default behavior, this is the default behavior for this. Like my default, excuse me, my default, the default should be like if you go to this CDN, the default thing should be just go to the website. So yeah. Anything else? Default TTL. How? So and this is how long should the CDN cache your website for you? And that's kind of a tricky thing. Like obviously, if you have a higher cache, a higher TTL, it refreshes slower. So that means like if you update your website, you won't see the update until this TTL expires, basically. But that could be good because it increases the chance that users have it stored. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. We'll just do like 15 minutes. That's not very long, but it's like we just want to test it so we can up it later. What else do I need? I need a certificate, so it's called viewer certificate. Kind of a weird name, but. And what the hell is this? Okay, I could just get it from ACM that way. Viewer certificate dot from ACM certificate. Certificate. I just pass in the certificate, right? Do I need any props? Aliases. Okay. And the aliases should be your subject alter. Oh, it should be these, right? So just copy this. Anything else? Is this required? I don't know, we'll just make it explicit then. Default SSL SNI, I guess it's fine. Oh, and one more thing, because we are poor, price class, CloudFront by default says, it has, price tiers, basically like, if you pay more, you can distribute your website to more places around the world. But we are poor and we are cheap, so we're going to just use the price class. We're just going to use the smallest. Great. I have set up my distribution. Okay. So what is this? What is an origin access identity? Const origin access identity equals new CloudFront dot origin access identity. And pretty sure that this does not need anything. So in session 1, when I set up the bucket, I made it public, which means anybody can look inside the bucket and just do whatever they want to it. That's not a good thing to do, right? Like, we've already talked about that. If you don't remember, if you don't know, go back to session 1 and watch that, like why that's bad. If I have a CloudFront distribution though, I don't need that. People should not be looking at my bucket directly. The only way that they should be looking at my bucket is through my domain name, which is secured by my CDN. That's what an origin access identity basically says. It says, it basically secures your bucket against anybody from looking at it unless they go through this. So side bucket grant read to the identity. Great. I have secured my bucket from people. What else do I need to do? Okay. So now I gotta hook up my hosted zone to this distribution. I have to say that if you go to HealthyGamerWorkshop.com, you're actually being redirected to the CDN. Const site record. Oops. Any record props? What do I need? Target. Record target. So, okay, what does that mean? Route 53 record target. I don't know what the hell this means. So, at least target. I guess like it just lets you target. It just lets you, you know, say that. It basically just automatically hooks up your distribution to your record. Great. And this lives in a. How do I do that? This lives in a separate package. Yeah, blah blah blah. The only thing I need to give this is the distribution. And you know, if this doesn't make sense, that's fine. Like we'll see what it does later. And I also need a record. I need also telling it to say which hosted zone you have to upsert this information into. So hosted zone. So one last thing is we got to deal with the apex domain, right? The hosted zone only tells you what to do with the apex domain. There's no, if I want to go to www.healthygamerworkshop.com, this isn't going to work. I have to say, what does www.healthygamerworkshop do? So yeah, you have to also add a redirect to this. Const apex redirect. It's the same thing actually, so let's just copy this. Apex record. See, so we want to do the exact same thing, but because they can't be exactly the same, let's say that the name is different. Record name. www dot. Yeah. All right, what do I need? CDK.ts. And then once this is done, I promise you we will actually get to React after I use the bathroom. List hosted zones. I don't want to hard code my hosted zone ID and stuff, so just like it's just, you know, just get it from, you know, just do a network call and describe it, and that's all. And, you know, because I don't want to hard code it, even though, you know, it's probably faster to just hard code it. Let's be real here. You know, why am I actually doing this? Who fucking knows, man? Who knows? Const around. Return route 3.list hosted zones. I'm pretty sure this doesn't need anything. Is that fine? I think that's fine. I think that's fine. That's fine. Const zone. And this returns a list of things. Let's take a look at that. Response body. Hosted zones. So we don't want to look at every one of them. We just want to look at, you know, built. Oops. Dot includes. Row. Okay, const frontend stack equals new frontend stack. Frontend stack properties. Hosted zone ID is filtered 0. ID. Hosted zone name is 0.name, and my domain name is HealthyGamerWorkshop.com. Finally, npm run build. So much build. God damn it. Expected 3 arguments, got 1. Got 2. What? Oh my god, what am I doing? Wait, what? Huh? What the fuck is happening? God damn it, I wanted this to go fast. What the fuck? Why do you mean expected 3 arguments? Is that the only reason that I forgot a semicolon? No, unfortunately. Oh, it's just a test. Oh god, I hate this. Is so stupid. Dude, I don't care. I don't care. Like, nobody uses this stuff. Nobody uses this stuff. Fuck the test. Fuck unit test. Okay. CDK simp. Like, why do they even have it, man? Like, what's the point? Okay, great. It's synthesized. That's what I wanted to see. It's synthesized. Great, cool. Sweet. It worked. It was just the stupid, like, the unit test that nobody ever uses. Like, do I honestly care that it has like blah blah blah? Like, come on, you can just look at the output. It's fine. What do I need to do? Can I have a foreground? Best test pushing to prod? You bet your ass. You bet your ass. Okay, one last thing. Gotta deploy the CloudFormation dot create update stack. It's annoying. Action name, deploy frontend, stack. Admin permissions is true because I am lazy and I don't care. Stack name, oh, okay. I need to pass in the stack name. This dot props dot frontend stack name. I'll pass that in. Template path. CDK output. It's the same thing, right? Oh, blah, blah, blah. This dot props dot blah, 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 Is that it? Yeah, it should be fine. Oh, and then one order one. New code pipeline actions dot. So what do I do? In here, we just compile. We compile the stack. Here we say, okay, now deploy it. Then the second thing we gotta do is we actually gotta push things into the S3 bucket, because you need things inside the bucket. You need an index.html to be able to look at the thing, right? And I'm pretty sure they have it here. Yeah, this just says, hey, take a thing and then push it into S3. Action name, deploy, frontend assets. Bucket. Oh, I guess I gotta pass this in too. Front end static assets. Bucket. Input. Static assets output. We'll deal with that later. Input. And you run this second because the bucket is not going to exist until you deploy this, right? This must be some new version of Rec. Don't just come on, man. Just in a little bit. Like you gotta do this eventually. Like, how do you get a website up? What do I call it? What is this? I think this is has to be a bucket. I think it's S3. Blah, blah, blah. And honestly, like, I don't know. I'm sure some people like. It's fine. Has to be a bucket. Yeah. Can't find static name output. Fine. You gotta update your pipeline. Like, somebody has to do this automation. Start static assets. Somebody has to do this, and honestly, like, I prefer doing this to most other things. I don't know what to say. Okay. We'll add a new stage. Stage name, compile. Actions. New code, blah, 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 pipeline actions dot code build. Action. Like, you structured things the way that you know it, and honestly, I know this a lot more than I know React. So, file frontend. It is what it is. Project. Render. Hopefully this works in one go. If not, I'm gonna be super sad. What the hell did I call it? Compile front-end projects. Okay. It's like how do you if you want to like see like a tutorial on how React works, like how and working on localhost, there's a lot of those. Nobody ever shows you like how do you actually like set up a CI/CD pipeline and like actually like deploy it on AWS or a cloud provider or whatever. And that's kind of like the hard part, isn't it? It's like from object. Like when you learn how to like do front end stuff, like it's just code. You can just learn how to do it. It's not like complicated. But it's like, for like for learning how to like do cloudy DevOpsy stuff. There really aren't that many tutorials for it, which is kind of odd to me. Like, you know, knowing how this works is honestly more difficult. I'm not tooting my own horn here or anything. I'm not saying that I'm a great engineer or whatever the fuck, but like, you know, more people that know how to do this is better. Like, if you really just need, you know, a tutorial on how React works, then you can go look that up. Which we'll get to. I swear to God, it's only been an hour. We'll get to. It's gonna be like a 3-hour. It's gonna be like a 3-hour session of just coding. I think the lecture was like 20 minutes or something. Sorry, a second. I need to cheat a little bit and look at my notes because I hope to God this works on just the first try. And like, if I'm blasting through this, it's because we've done it before, right? It's like the same stuff as the other projects underneath here. Oh. Great. I think, does this compile? No, it doesn't. It's missing stuff. I need frontend stack name and static asset bucket. Okay. Frontend stack name, it should be frontend stack dot stack name. And frontend static assets bucket should be frontend stack dot static assets bucket. Frontend stack. Just make this public. Static assets bucket is an S3 bucket. And just make it public. I don't often see a point to using getters and setters. Like, what's the point? How does this compile? Okay, cool. I hope to God that this works on the first try. Let's just see. Good diff. What did I add? I added this. Oh, fine. I added the compile step. I added a couple of things to package.json. I deleted the stupid test. Diff staged. Frontend stack. This is a new file. That's fine. And we want to add all the frontend as well. So that's just from create React app. Oh, I gotta add the thing. It doesn't know. Touch bin. What the hell did I call it? Compile frontend dot shell. Okay. Touch bin compile frontend dot shell. What does this look like? Bin bash set xe push the frontend. Oh, you just gotta go into the frontend directory. You need to npm install, and then you need to npm run build. And that's it. Great. Now we've added, you know, our CDK stuff, and then everything. This is everything inside the frontend directory, except for the build directory, which should never ever build and node module should never ever be added to Git. Don't ever commit node modules. This is like a gigabyte of just stuff. Don't ever commit node modules. And build is your build artifact, so you don't need to commit these either. Like, you shouldn't do it. Everything you need to generate build should be part of your directories, but it should not be part of your actual, you know, source code repository. Init session 4 to create React app, add CI/CD steps to compile React and deploy to cloud formation. Git push. Okay, I need to use the bathroom, and we'll see. We'll just watch this fail when I get back. Okay. Let's see. Oh my god. No export named frontend stack export. Oh god damn it. Oh god damn it. Okay. This is a simple problem to solve. Okay, so what's the problem? The problem is here. You know, the stack name is pretty simple. Like, it's just a string that you can just export it, right? Like, it knows how to hydrate. It knows what the stack name is. The problem is this. We're taking a resource that is created in the stack, and we're giving it to the CDK stack and say, hey, you need to reference this. And that's the problem. The stack has not been deployed yet, so the bucket doesn't exist. So, you know, there's a circular dependency. I can't deploy this until this is I can't deploy this until this is already deployed. So we'll just do that manually. CDK deploy, HealthyGamer, workshop, frontend stack. Yes. Okay, here it is. Create in progress. We'll just watch this fail as well, because it's gonna fail, right? There's no way it works on the first try, right? Yep. Okay, here we go. It's creating the bucket. Buckets do not take very long to create, or at least they shouldn't. Why is the bucket taking so long to create? What the hell? It usually takes like 20 seconds. Okay. Now we're blocked because this certificate will not create until you do something. Certificate manager. Okay. Pending validation. Validation not complete. This certificate request is pending validation. You can't just create a certificate and attach it to any domain name. You have to prove that you actually own the domain name. And there's two ways to do that. There's two ways to do that. The first step is through email. If you own a domain name, you could register like an email address to that domain name, and Amazon will send you an email saying, "Hey, do you actually own this?" You know, if you do, you can click this button and we'll validate your certificate for you. Say that you own the domain name. The other way is through DNS. And you know, with your domain name registrar, you have a place that you can, you know, insert records to say, you know, to do, you know, to like redirect people to this domain name or whatever. That's the same thing here. I have to prove that I own this domain name by adding these records to the domain name, basically. And to do that, you just click add create. You know, just go create. Since I actually do own the hosted zone, you know, doing this it just works. And this will update in like 5 minutes or something like that. Let's see, if we go back to Route 53, we refresh this page and we see these have been added. So which one was it? This one. So let's see, this one, -77317, it's this one. And that is a canonical name reference to this 61EC, this thing. This says that, yeah, like, hey, this is like a website that basically says, yeah, you own the website. You actually do own the domain name. This one, 0D022 is, you know, and E496. So hurry the fuck up, please. Okay, great. It's not validated, and this should continue. And this will also take a couple minutes just because confirmation is stupid. Come on. Come on. Yeah. I mean, I'm just like going really fast through this CDK stuff right now because I just want to get to the React part, because I know that's why most people are here anyway. Come on, this usually takes like 2 minutes. Why is it taking so long? There it is. Okay, good, it's done. And now, distributions also take like 10 minutes to create. God, so fucking hell. Maybe we'll just go and look at React. One second. All right, so the question, how does React work? Is it, it's this one. Recover. Okay, whatever. What the fuck? So, the first thing that React does is you need to say where in your index.html do you want to insert your React code. So document.getElementById looks at this index.html and says, here, replace this div with my app. And yeah, I mean that's really all what this code does. Just inject my app inside that div. Oops. And so we look at app.tsx. There are two ways to create React components. The one is just a function, and a function just returns, you know, your code. Your document, what it should look like. So if we look here, this entire thing is encapsulated inside another div. It has an image, it's probably this. Edit source app.tsx and save to reload, it's right here. And we have a link to the React documentation. Yeah, it's pretty simple. So, what am I doing? So let's get rid of all this. We'll just say main. We'll call it main. Import main from modules main. Has this failed yet? No, it's still going. Fucking hell. Couple things that I want to do, because this always gets annoying. Source. Now I can add a folder, modules, and I can call it main, and I can create an index.tsx. One thing about JavaScript in general is that if you have a file called index.tsx, you can, index.tsx is the default, index.ts or index.js is the default file inside a directory. So if I create another file and I call it main.tsx, then I have to say modules main / main.tsx. But if I do just modules main, it looks for just a file called index, and that's what it is. So import star as React from React. Okay, let's just take a look at this. Hey! Hey, it worked on the first try! Oh my god, it worked on the first try. Oh my god, it worked on the first try. This is the first time this has happened. Alright. So here we've added a couple of records. So we've added, this record says go to the CloudFront and just get whatever the CloudFront thing tells you to do. And similarly here, if you go to www.whatever, it goes, say, go to the CloudFront and do the thing. It worked on the first try. It worked on the first try. Resources. The bucket is called HealthyGamer frontend, blah, blah, blah. It's this one. There's nothing in here. So like, even if I go to www.healthygamerworkshop.com, there's nothing in here. It says, hey, the thing that you're looking for doesn't exist. So we gotta add it, right? Okay, now let's see if this, now retry this. No guarantees, but let's see if this works. Anyways, we'll deal with that. Okay, so we'll go back to React for now. Export class main from extends react.component. Like people say, you need to use functional components and they're better, and I don't really care either way. Like I generally prefer class components because I think, in my mind, class components just make sense. Maybe I'm a boomer, but I think class components just make sense. Interface state. Oh my god, what the fuck? Oh no, this does not work. Doesn't work. What? Huh? What? Motherfucker, what? What the fuck? What's your problem? The fuck? God damn it. Why is it not working? Why is this not working? Why are you not exporting yourself, you stupid piece of shit? Why is this not exporting? Well, that's weird. I'm looking at my notes and it doesn't say anything. It just worked. Why is it not working? Why is it not working? Oh, God damn it. Resources, conditions. Have you tried turning it off and on again? No, actually, I haven't. Shall we try it? I don't know. Okay. CDK stack outputs. How do I use this? How do I use this? How do I use this? It just worked. How? I have something in my eye. Ugh, I gotta do this crap now. Do I have any outputs? No. Why? CDK sync. Is it export? I don't understand. I don't understand. I don't understand. Why aren't you not working? Fuck. Oh, we'll deal with this fucking shit later. Who cares? Who cares? We'll deal with that later. Now we gotta talk about React. Interface state, interface props. What do we call this? Test prop, string, interface state, count, number. Props, state. When you have a React, like when you have UI, you have state, like, right? So, for example, when if you're watching this on Twitch, like obviously one of the most important things is where are you? Who are you watching, right? So things like that, like here, like this website is like this is at probably state. If I click here, what exactly am I looking at? And as I click, how do my actions change the UI that I'm looking at? And React has two ways to deal with it. I'm not talking about hooks. In general, has two ways to deal with it. Is props and state. Props are immutable. They are passed down from your parent, and we'll see what that means. Count is internal. Count basically says count is basically things that should not be exported outside. The only people who care about it is my component. So things like constructor props. If you have a constructor, you always have to call super. It's just something that you do. Not just in JavaScript, which is in fucking hell. In everywhere. And if you have in a React component, a constructor is where you initialize your state. So count 0. You can pass state. Yeah, but like that's still like you only care about your component. The children of your component is still part of your component. You don't want to be passing state around to other places in your component hierarchy. In general, if you do it that way, then you probably shouldn't be using state for that. You should probably be using something like Redux or something. The render function is a React component method that basically says, what does my component look like? Div. We'll just call it this.state.count. Maybe not div. We'll call it a button. Button. And on click. This dot on increment count. Private increment count. I don't need any inputs. All I need to do is increment my count. This dot state count. This dot state dot count. What does this do? I don't actually remember the reason why, but you don't want to be manipulating your state just by doing random things on it. If you want to change your state, you should be calling this dot set state. I honestly don't remember why, but I don't know. There must be some reason. So let's take a look-see. Oh, and I guess key this dot props dot test prop. Oops. P. So how does this npm sub failed to compile? It does not have okay. Oops. Test prop is missing. Okay. What is it? App.tsx? Test prop equals hi. When you this is how you pass properties down into children. Is basically, you know, it looks like an HTML tag. You just give it like an attribute, and then you give it and you pass in some. It could be an object. It doesn't have to be a string. It could be whatever you want it to be. Better to use this? I don't honestly remember the reasons why. I'll be completely honest with you. Nah. Isn't always the previous value? Okay. I mean, I don't remember. Neither do I particularly care. Did I get put into a queue? Yeah. Listen to this guy. He knows more about this than I do, apparently. Compiled with warnings. Okay. Great. So, yeah. So, main got high from the top level component, and I now have a button that reflects my current state. If I click the button, I increment my count, and that is automatically reflected in my state. Congratulations, you just fucking learned React. This is all React is. It's just components. You know, you have components, and a component is just like a piece of your interface. And you know, your components probably have some sort of internal state that they need to render themselves. The tricky part about React is, how do I mutate my state? And then like, if I have components, like this component has these children as their components, it's like it has a button and has this paragraph. You can, and then in your component tree, in your component hierarchy, you just pass down things that you need, that you have that maybe your children need. This is React. So like, but then why do people think React is difficult? And the reason that people think React is difficult is because this is all React is. Okay. React.js. Is it .org? Is it .com? I don't remember. Documentation. Main concepts. State and lifecycle. If you read through that's all it is. React.component. The only thing that you need to know about React is this page, this React.component page, and all you need to know to write React code is this. You need to know that you have a constructor in your component. You have a render function that tells you what your component looks like, and you have a few other things that you need. So for example, component did mount, right? Let's say like when you push a component onto the page, it needs the value from some network call. Okay, so you fire that network call in component that did mount, and then when you're done, you know, your component is being unmounted. You're changing your page. You need to clean yourself up. You have to be a good person. You have to clean yourself up. So you destruct, you call that in component will unmount. And 99% of the time, that's all you need to do. Okay? You have a constructor, you have an initializer, and you have a de-initializer. In the C++, in like the Rust world, this is called resource acquisition is initialization. Okay? When you create yourself, the component handles everything that it needs, and then when it's not needed, it cleans itself up. That's it. But like, for web dev people, you know, this is like crazy town, right? You know, you look at like Angular, and it's like 100 megabytes of just like code that tells you, okay, if you want to, you know, fire a network request, you call Angular whatever the fuck. And you know, same thing with Vue. It's like they give you all these things that like, oh, like they tell you how to write your thing. React doesn't do that. React is not that. React is literally just React.component. It's literally just constructor, render, component did mount, component will unmount. How do I fire a network request? The answer is, it's just fucking code. Just do it however the fuck you want. And this is apparently like news to people. Like, I don't know. When you ask people why is React complicated, they tell you it's complicated because it doesn't tell you how to do things. But like, you're a programmer, your job is to write programs. So just do it. You know? How do you do it? How the fuck you want to do it, man? You don't have to use Redux. You don't have to use whatever. So this comes back to why I think hooks are stupid. Why do I dislike hooks? Because when you write, like, hooks have so many, like, oh, that's a loud car. Hooks have so many, like, rules attached to them. They're like, when you start writing hooks, you're not writing code anymore, you're writing React. And I don't want to be a React developer. So I don't want to be like a Vue developer. I don't want to be an Angular developer. I just want to be a developer. I just want to write code. And, you know, this like lifecycle method of doing it is just really like, it's really like simple, I think. It's just like you have initializers, you have deinitializers, and that's it. But like when you do this, you have to start learning like, oh, you can't call a hook in like a conditional or like, oh, blah, 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 blah. Like, I don't care. I just want to write code. It's not that obvious. I'm not sure what you're talking about, but like, to me, this is like really obvious. If I've been doing C and C++, like I know resource acquisition is initialization. So like when I read this, I'm just like, oh, it's just RAII. And I was like, okay. And to me, it was really quite simple to like understand. Maybe it's like if you're brand new, it's like it might be like more tricky, but to me, it's really simple. You create yourself, you set your state, you initialize yourself you initialize yourself when you mount, you clean yourself up when you unmount. I'm talking about hooks. Yeah, hooks are magic. Yeah, hooks are magic. You're not writing code, you're writing React, and that's what I hate about hooks. I don't want to write React, I just want to write code. They're just not obvious. Like, how do they work? Like, they tell you, oh, don't think about it. Like, the React, Dan Abramoff has done it for you. I don't want Dan Abramoff to think for me. I just want to write my code the way that I want to. And that's, you know, web dev people like don't like that, apparently. They want, you know, like, oh, when you, like, people, like, that's why people like Vue a lot. Like, oh, everything is opinionated. You when you want to store state, you do this and you do that, and like I don't want to do that. I just want to write code. Like, what if that's not the best way for me? I just want to write code, and that's my hook. That's my hooks rant. Okay, so what is Redux? And what is Redux and why do people use it? 1 second, I've been sitting for a while. I need to stretch it up for a little bit. Ugh. Cracking your neck feels so good. It's off. Injected props. Let's change this a little bit. Type props equals injected props. What does this mean? Oops. Injected. Man, I'm bad at typing. They use Redux because they hate themselves? I use Redux and I like myself, generally. So, no. I don't know what to say. Okay. You use, like, okay. So, let's think about this for a second. Inspect. Oh, it's not in the head, it's in the body. Okay. Context is also cool. I think the context API is just like really stupid. Like, if you want, you can't pass in multiple things from context. You have to like keep wrapping things inside context providers, and it looks really stupid. So I just use Redux for everything. So here's the thing, right? When you have a document tree. Let's say like this paragraph is something more complicated, and let's say this button is something a lot more complicated. And I want to, and if I have something here and I want to reuse it here,
How do I do that? Well, one way that you could do that is to just have it inside your parent and then pass it down individually. But if you're really deep in your tree, that gets really annoying because you have to like every single time you have a child, you have to pass in your prop and you just gotta keep passing it in and passing it in. Right? The question is like, is there some other way to do it? And this is what Redux does. And we'll see how it does. We'll see how we do it. We'll call this header. Import header from modules. Header. Excuse me. Yeah, I know we're busted. Oh. And oh yeah, here's a thing. I think this is the React DevTools extension for Chrome. It tells you your React stuff. So like, yeah, it says, hey, here's your props, here's your count, here's your state, you know, here's your parent, here's your component hierarchy. You have an app, and then app has main as a child. Every React component has to do import star as React React export class header extends React.component render. Let's render a diff now. Return diff. Cannot find, you can find it now, can't you? Oh, I need a default export default header. What's the difference between export and export default? If you don't wrap it inside braces, then it only does a default. It only does default. Then it just takes your default. Otherwise, you can specify what exactly you want to import from a file by wrapping it inside braces, and we'll see that. What the fuck is your problem, dude? Huh? Do I have to restart it? That was weird. Okay. Okay, now if we look back into the component hierarchy, I mean, I don't know, man. It was there. I just had to restart it and it worked. If we looked at it in the component hierarchy, we see that app has header and has main as its children. Okay. What do I want to do? Okay. Let's just do something stupid and completely pointless. Interface props count number state props. Type props equals state props. And we'll see why that I like to separate things out. like this. What is a state prop versus what is an injected prop? And this will, you know, fail to compile for a while. That's okay. Oops. So import. What do I need to do? Connect from React Redux. And I need to add this to package.json, don't I? What do I need? What do I need? First of all, shouldn't sound that dependencies. I don't know why they don't do this for you. Like, why do I have to do this, man? React scripts also, like these two also don't belong here. What do I need? I need React Redux, which if you don't want to use Redux, and you know there are arguments for why you shouldn't use Redux or whatever, then don't. Again, it's just code. You can do whatever you want because it's just code, and that's what I like about React is that you can do. It's just code. It's just code. Need history, I guess. Well, I don't need it for now. Okay. It has type completion? It's just Vim, man. Okay. Where is it? Okay, connect. Cannot find a declaration file. Oh, whoops. I also need the types. React Redux. What's the type? 719. I guess it's the same. 7.1.9 and Redux. Redux doesn't have types? It's kind of weird. Okay, whatever. I thought it did. Oh, maybe it comes with the package. Who knows? Because you're importing everything? That is true. But if you, and I've tested this, there is no difference between import star as React and just import the default React because they're the same thing. Like I tested it, it makes your bundles the exact same size. So in this case, it doesn't matter. And my preference is to have the import as namespace because I just like that better. React is always star? Not always. You can actually do it like this. But I like how this looks better, so I just do it this way. Okay. One second. Adjust my site. Change my notes. Look at my notes. Store index.js. I don't know if it does that. I think it's just the default. The default export is just the entire namespace anyway. So import. apply middleware, combine reducers, compose, create store from Redux, import thunk from Redux thunk. And we'll obviously go over what all this means. Const is development. Environment.nodeend. So, like, how do I know that I'm doing a development build instead of a release build? Well, create React app will automatically inject it for you. Like, if you're doing, like, if I'm running npm start and just running the local host thing, it's development mode. It'll do it for you, or you could do it yourself. It's either way. Create React app will do it for you. So, let enhanced compose if is development enhanced compose equals, and I need to look at this carefully because I'm gonna get this wrong. And Redux dev tools extension compose. Let me just copy this. Workshop. Otherwise, compose. Okay. So there is a thing called Redux DevTools, which is basically, you know, if you're doing Redux, then you need to use this. Like, it's just doing. This basically says, like, if you have the extension installed, we're going to use it. Otherwise, don't use it. Otherwise, don't worry about it because, you know. Okay. Export interface store is nothing. So export const configure store equals create store. Store any pretty sure now the question is like what does all this mean? What all this means? And I honestly don't remember what these type parameters mean. I just because I don't I just copy this from like an existing project that I have. I don't actually remember what this means. I'll be completely honest with you. Let's just call this. I need something here. Let's call it main. I don't know. We'll just call this any for now. Like, well, I'm going to change it. This shouldn't generally be any, but we'll just do any for now. Combine reducers. Main is just an object, and enhanced compose apply middleware thunk. And I'll talk about what thunk is. Like, what the fuck is a thunk? Who the hell named a thunk? That's fine, I don't care. Okay. I think it's better personally to like see how all the code and walk you through it after it's done, because there is actually quite a bit of like boilerplate code that you need to set up Redux, and this is one of the big reasons why people don't like it, is because there's just a lot of code sometimes. On the bright side, though, it does give like, if you're not using any, and you're actually you actually do get very strong typing on what your entire application state, so you don't do like random shit. So that is actually one good benefit that I really do like about Redux, is that you can strongly type it. So when you set up your React, you have to say, okay, like, dude, you need to actually call configure store somewhere. From store. Const store equals configure store. Wait. That's fine. I usually just call it configure store because it's usually a function and not just a variable, but this time we'll change it later. We'll change it later. Import provider. React Redux. So here's a question. Why, if I have a React package and I have a Redux package, what the hell is a React Redux package? Right? And the answer is that, like how React does not give a shit about what you use for state management, Redux does not give a shit about what UI framework that you use. It's just a thing that lets you store state. So if you want to use React with Redux, or I mean Redux with React, or like, it doesn't matter. Like either way, some people have have created this thing called React Redux, which basically helps you do that. And that's honestly like a good thing. Like if I wanted to, I can use Redux with. I don't need a UI framework to use Redux. Like you can use Redux for just like your code, and it will work because because Redux is not a UI framework. It's just a way to manage state. Okay. Yeah, so you just gotta configure your store, and then you gotta give your store to your application. You just do that by wrapping your application in a provider. So let's see. Interface. State props, and this is going to be empty for now. Interface dispatch props. Let me make this empty for now as well. Types, your props is going to be state props and dispatch props. So if you don't know TypeScript, basically this AND says that the props type is a union between these three interfaces. It's basically just all three of these combined. Why do I need this? Let's see, let's just say Redux prop. I'll call this a number. Let's see, if props.redux prop. Oops. do this? No, actually no, that's fine. I don't need this. P .props.redux props. That's fine. Connect. I need. Goddamn children playing outside. Ugh. During my workshop. So the question is, how do I consume my Redux state from my component? And you do that again through a React Redux function called connect. Basically, that's, I mean, it's in the name, right? It connects your component to Redux, so you can listen to changes and update your component based on those changes. And if you want to do that, connect takes 3 inputs. First 2 are functions, and the last is your actual component. And by convention, those functions are called map state to props and map dispatch to props. These are functions. And map state to props returns state props. That's why I called this state props. Return. Let's run. Redux props and return store dot. What do I call it? Main? Dot. I don't know. Call it num or 0, because if it doesn't exist, we'll just call it or 0. Import store from store. What the fuck? Thank you, Windows Defender. And map dispatch to props, we'll talk about it later. So export default connect state props dispatch. I guess I don't need it. I guess I do need it now. Props store map state to props map dispatch to props. No. Map dispatch to props is a function, again, that takes in a dispatch. I think dispatch is imported from Redux. And this returns dispatch props. Return nothing. Okay. And this is like, if you want to connect your component to Redux, you have to do something like this every time. And this is why people don't like Redux, because there's a lot of like repeated code. You always have to have a map state to props function. You always have to have a map dispatch to props function. And you have to connect it to blah, 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 blah. The first type component is whatever your map state to props returns. Your second component is, your second type is whatever map dispatch to prop returns. Your third component is the entire props type, like everything that goes into your component. And your fourth thing is, what does my store look like? Yeah. So what's the problem here? You needed to separate things when you export stuff and connect. Yep. Yeah. And it's just like, okay. Property count is missing. You need to separate things when you export stuff and connect. Yep. And it's just like, okay. Property count is missing. Again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 1 header. Where the hell do I put it? Count equals 0. Fine, are you happy? What? I don't have a default header. Missing Redux prop is missing. Required in type state props. Why? That shouldn't be happening. That shouldn't be happening. That should be happening. Make you optional, do you care? Okay, great. I don't have a compile time error now, and now I have a runtime error. Because it's saying that, you know, main doesn't, you know, num doesn't actually exist. If store.main, main doesn't actually exist. So say, so for now, store.main.num, otherwise 0. Does it render? Yay, it renders. Great, I fixed all the type issues, I fixed all the whatever issues. Great, store.main is undefined, so just get 0. And that's, this is this. Let's take a look at state. There's nothing inside my state. Okay, whatever, that's fine. And you see now, instead of being, you know, instead of my component hierarchy being app and then straight into main, we have these, they're called higher order components. They're components that wrap components and return other components. And then really their main purpose is to just pass in, you know, connect, you know, it's just to like give state from other places most of the time. I'm not exactly sure why that's happening. It's kind of weird. It shouldn't be happening. Okay, so how do I update my store then? And so Redux. How do I read this? Okay, so you there in this panel. The only thing that matters is, like, this panel is a list of the actions that Redux has received. Okay, an action is just, has two parts. It has a name. So for example, the first action that you always get is at init. And the second part is some payload. The actions have some thing and that you give it to Redux, and then Redux takes the action and updates itself with it. And when Redux updates, any component that's connected to it using the connect function can listen to those changes and will automatically re-render because it sees that Redux has changed. I need to call map state to props. I need to update myself. And then when I do that, I go back into render and I reflect and I update myself with my new properties. Okay. actions.ts and reducers.ts. Export const. What do I call this? This is stupid. Call it props action. Does it take anything? Sure. We'll call it a payload number. Return type. And type is prop action. I don't care. It's just a string. Payload is your payload. Okay. Import star as actions from actions. Props. Prop action. Oops, type of actions dot prop actions. Does this one, where does this one live? Is it in React Redux? Okay, fine. Maybe it's in Redux. Find that, okay. Bind action creators. Action. Top action. Okay, whatever, man. An action in Redux is just a function, like I said. Where the hell did I put it? It's just a function that returns an object. And that object can be whatever you want it to be. So in my case, you know, I have a type, and I have to say, what is my action? This is kind of just by convention, but like, you can call this whatever the fuck you want. And it has some payload. And that's what I'm saying is. If I want to consume my action, like if I want to consume my action, I have to, it said that I dispatch it to Redux. What bind action creator does is basically takes an object. It has, you know, some keys, and and those keys map to some sort of function. So in my case, props action, and wraps it around dispatch. So when I call component, is a component did mount? It's component did mount, I think, right? I can call this .props.prop action. And what this says is, why are you doing this? See, and what this says is like when this component is mounted, let's give it like 42. When I do this, as soon as I mount, send this action to Redux. See, like I send this action to Redux, and my type is thing, and my payload is 42. But now Redux, like, how do I tell Redux to consume it? What the fuck is the problem here? Like, really? This should not be happening. Oops. I don't know what's happening anymore because I'm tired and it's been like a billion years. Yeah, I don't know. This shouldn't be happening. TypeScript error. Huh. Why is this happening? Why is this happening? Why is this happening? This is supposed to work. If I get rid of this, does it care? Oops. Oops. What the fuck? I didn't expect this to happen today. God damn it. I didn't expect this to happen today. Yeah. Fuck. Who cares? We'll deal with it as we go along. You know what? Just make it like this for now. Like, just make it like this. I'm lazy and I don't care and I don't know why this is happening, so just do it like this for now. That's fine. How do I tell Redux to consume my action? The answer is with another function called, by convention, a reducer. Const main reducer equals. It takes in some state. Just call this any for now because I'm lazy. And an action. That's any action. And that's a function. Return some stuff. Import any action. Is this from Redux? Yeah, I think so. What did I call it? Count? That's a number. it takes an action. It has your initial state, which is usually empty. And this says, how do I update my state? So switch action dot type if, oh wait, no, it's not case. What do I call it? Prop action case. I can't do this, can I? Can I do this? I don't remember. Can I do this? I guess you can. Return. State. Count. Action. Dot. Payload. Default. Temp state. Okay. This basically says, if you look at this action and look at the action's type. If the action's type is a prop action, we're going to update the state by saying that count is whatever the action's payload was. Otherwise, just return whatever we had. We don't care. Store main. Shit. Export. Import. Main reducer. And what the fuck did I call it? God, why is my memory so bad? Why can I never remember anything? Main reducer. From modules main reducers. So, like, when you have your application, you have these reducers like everywhere. How do I strongly type my entire store? Well, basically, you just got to import, what each individual part of your store looks like. So, for example, this one is not any; it's a main reducer. And so if you have reducers from many parts of your code base, Redux lets you like squash them together into a single object by using their function called combine reducers. So like in my case, like I don't have one. Well, I guess I don't even need it, right? Do I even need this? Yeah, I could just do it that way. Okay. And now it's saying, num doesn't actually exist in main reducer. You named it count, dummy. Maybe you should fucking remember what your goddamn variables look like, idiot. Whoops, it's not a main. Okay. So, so now you see that it works. What happens when the component mounts? I say fire this action, and I give it 42. So it says it fires the action. The action is the type of prop action, and this payload is 42. The state, the store index. The store says main is handled by the main reducer. Main reducer looks like this. Main reducer is another function it has its state. It looks like this, and it could take in whatever action. Based on the action, how do we update the state? And it says here that okay, it has a prop. It gets a prop action. The prop action has a payload of 42. So okay, we're just gonna update the count to the payload. If you look at here, main, that's what it looks like now. We have a main object. Its children is the count, and its value is the object. Button on click equals this dot set count. Hit me, gotcha base. Private set count. This dot sets. This dot. How do I want to do this? This dot props dot prop actions. This dot state dot count. If this dot props dot prop action. Like again, this wouldn't need to happen if I knew React like a little bit, but okay. Hit me, gotcha base. So now I send another prop action. My value this time is my state. My state is 0, so I sent an action whose payload is 0. I have updated my state to be 0. If I increment this a little bit, the only thing I'm incrementing here is my state. My state is now the count in my state is 18. This does not change Redux. I haven't done anything to update Redux. If I send another action, now that's reflected again. Okay. That is really the entirety of React and Redux. When people say they don't like Redux, they just really mean that they don't like typing map state to props, map dispatch to props, or like, you know, configuring the store. Like, yeah, I suppose like this can be a bit of a headache, but it's also like a big benefit. Like if you have like strongly typing, the entire application state is incredibly beneficial. Like I don't like this, just like this solves so many bugs just because of like, you know, like what exactly you can do. Actions. And like typing out exactly how you can mutate your state by creating these actions is also incredibly beneficial. Like you shouldn't hard code, you know, strings like this. What you should probably do is like create an enum, export enum, increment count, right? And instead of, you know, hard coding your string like that, you just set an enum, main actions. And here, import actions. Instead of, you know, hard coding the string again, main actions dot increment count. Excuse me. There, like, doing this is so beneficial. Like just being able to read the code and saying, these are the, you know, enumerating the exact ways that you can change your state is so beneficial, and it solves so many bugs. Just because, like, you know, doing like random shit everywhere is like while you can't do it, it's like, you know, you're gonna have a bad time if you do it that way. Hit me, gotcha base. Like, see, like we've we changed the name to increment count, or like it shouldn't be called increment count. It should be more like change count or whatever. And now, like in header, if I wanted to, I can connect header also to Redux, and I could listen to changes to Redux from header. I can, like, if I do hit me gotcha base, and I could, you know, consume count inside header if I want to do it, using the exact same, using like this. Like, is it really that much code? I don't know. In my opinion, it's fine. I don't care. Yeah. Now I gotta fix this shit. Now this is what happens when you gotta fucking fix this, don't I? Why is this a problem? Oh well. Well, the rest of the stream is just gonna be fixing this. Like, this is React and Redux. Go forth and make it. That's not true. I gotta talk about what a thunk is, I suppose. And I need like another hour to talk about thunks. Meh. And how to do asynchronous calls. Maybe we could do that next time though. But yeah, like this is React. It's really very simple. Yep. Why the fuck are you changing? Gotta fix this before. It's like a search. Does not have a search bar. Like, that's really stupid. Like, they need to add a search here. Where's the swap file? Wherever. Where is the swap file? Where is the swap file? Why isn't it working? Why isn't it working? Oh, I know. Let's just do this. Let's just do this temporarily. Frontend stack. No, this one's this one. Let's do something stupid, shall we? Don't you love doing stupid things sometimes, just for fun? Oh shit, no, this doesn't work, does it? Oh, that doesn't work. It doesn't work. Oh well, get back to debugging. Why is it not working? No, I don't want to use fucking SSM. Are you kidding me? What? What the hell is this? Why would you do it this way? Dude, like, yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing. What the fuck? Dude, what the fuck? That's exactly what I'm doing. Didn't do anything. Mappings, conditions, all this garbage. What the fuck? Why? CFN stack exports. Okay, I wonder if this works. I don't know why this isn't working. Like, it just worked when in my tests. Like, I didn't have to do anything special. It just fucking works. So what the fuck aren't you doing? Bucket Arn. Wait a minute. Am I stupid? I mean, the answer is yes. Like, am I stupid? Yeah, I'm fucking stupid. It's fucking incredibly dumb, you know, but. No, I'm not doing anything special. Oops. What the hell? Oh. God damn it. There it is, finally. String. Why are you? Oh, why are you doing this? Can I just do it anyway, dude? Come on. Ay ay ay. Dot bucket. Now does it work? The hell is this problem? Huh? Cannot read property bucket name of undefined. I'm sorry? Oh, that clearly doesn't work. Okay. ls. Piece of shit. My job is to do this. Local. RM. Piece of shit. Why the hell is it empty? You idiot. Why is it not synthesizing? Why doesn't it just work? Why does there always have to be some sort of stupid thing that happens every time that I write code? Why can't things just work? Why can't things just work? Why did I accidentally run npm run build? And that creates all this useless crap. Why? The fuck? Adobe Creative Cloud. Why did the children have to yell outside? Why can't I just more quiet? Why is this undefined? Why is it undefined? Why is it undefined? What? I don't get it. Do I have to do this? Do I have to do this? Why do I have to do this? The fuck was that? What the hell is the problem here? Which one did it even stop on? It's not a function? What do you mean it's not a function? What? What the hell is happening? What the fuck? What do you mean it's not a function? What do you mean? What do you mean it's not a function? Oh, is that really the problem? Is this the problem? Is this the problem? Is this the problem? Oh my fucking god. Because I accidentally, oh my god, this, don't, you can't fucking tell me this is the problem. There's no way this is the problem. There's no way that was the actual problem, is it? Am I just like the biggest fucking moron? Does it have outputs? Fucking hell, retarded as fuck. I don't even want to talk about it, man. Oh my god, I'm fucking dumb as shit. Okay, the problem was, like 2.5 hours ago, I accidentally ran npm run build. An npm run build in this folder is aliased to be tsc. tsc is the TypeScript compiler. What tsc does is it takes your TS files and it generates JavaScript from it. So when you run CDK blah 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 blah, it sees that you have both TS files and JS files. And I suppose by default what it does is it runs the .js files. Because I didn't run the TypeScript compiler again, these were really fucking old. So yeah, don't ever run the TypeScript compiler. Okay, let's take a look at this stupid bullshit. Okay, it has the fucking output now. Thank fucking Christ. Alright. Give it to me, boy. Come on. I need to get some water. Did it fail? Nope. Hasn't failed yet. Let's start. Ah, fuck, man. What is this? Encryption key? Fine. Okay, while this is updating, I have to figure out why the hell Redux isn't doing what I want it to do. Why is it not doing the things that I want it to do? If I take out this, index.ts, that's the wrong one. Wait a minute. Great, it succeeded on my first try, guys. That was my first try. Fuck off. We'll just pretend that was my first try. What is happening? Modules, rename, index of TSS. This should not be happening. Cool. Yay, that was successful. Oh, okay, no, that's okay. No, you expect this to fail. Because for whatever reason, when you mark a pipeline to restart itself after it mutates, like for some reason they mark the stage as failed, even though all the stages are actually completed. I guess that's so that, you know, it doesn't like continue promoting past this stage, but it's like, it's kind of a weird user experience. It's not actually failed. Great, so I have this step, and I had that step. Okay. Redux connected component still needs props? I don't know how to. Merge props, that's what it's called. Oh, it's not called injected props, it's merge props. Yeah, that's what it was. Our own props. Yeah, own props. That's what it's called. Dispatch two props. Oh, is that the reason why? Yay, that's the reason why. I got the types wrong. The second properties type is just whatever else you want to pass it. There we go. Okay, I just run through things through prettier. It's fine. Ugh, God, map, package lock. Okay, this should just work. Like, I made no changes here, so it better have fucking worked. Otherwise, I would have lost my mind. This one should have no changes, so it should update really fast. Fucking package lock. Ugh, scroll to the bottom. Let's see, my store index, my reducer, my component, my action, my application. Add store to React. There, it's done. It just needs to update its metadata. And okay, deploy front-end assets. Let's take a look at this. So, like, this is a code pipeline thing. What it does is just take some stuff and it just dumps it into S3. And there we go. That's okay. Well, let's see. ls build. Yeah, everything in here when you build your React app just automatically gets dumped inside your bucket. So now, if we go back here, we refresh the page. You remember the original create React app thing. There it is. If I push the latest commits with my store changes, we'll see what that will get updated. Oh my god, it only took 3 hours, but at least it fucking worked eventually. God damn, that was hard. That was annoying. Holy shit, the stupid TSC JavaScript thing. Oh my god, that was real dumb. First try though. Yep, that's right. Only first tries in this stream. So yeah. Okay, this is basically what our final pipeline is going to look like. It has a source connected to your GitHub repository. It has a compilation step. So like you want to make sure that like you didn't push in bad code that doesn't even compile. You want to see that quickly. So compile is usually first. We should probably move the self mutate render step into the compile step because I'm compiling more than just a self mutate step. And then after that, you have the self mutate step in case you ever need to update for whatever reason. You usually deploy your backend first and then your front end because your front end is usually like your backend is your application. Is like the data store of your application. Your front end depends on your backend more than your backend depends on your front end. So changes here go first, and then you deploy your front end. Now, if you have a really large team and you have separate teams working on backend and front end, you wouldn't put it in a single pipeline. You would separate these out. So your backend is deployed independently of your front end. But if you're by yourself, then this is your final pipeline, basically. We'll just watch it run, because it's got nothing better to do. And of course, like if you're not using code pipeline, if you're using Jenkins or whatever, like this is a pretty simple. This is like really simple. It's just a couple of like commands. So just sync a directory into S3. It's like one command. So this is convenient, but it's also like not a lot of work. CloudFormation, however, is a little complicated. I honestly never actually used like the command line to do CloudFormation updates. Let's be real here. Inside Amazon, we have a bunch of like the internal tools team has written a bunch of like programs that do it automatically for you. So I don't actually know how to do it. Why is there 6 things I need to change? Like, what the fuck? Oh, because every time you update it, like, they create a new layer and a new version of your function. It's whatever, I suppose. It doesn't actually do anything. Succeeded, that does nothing, and this, he's got some new assets to deploy. But that also succeeds. Cool. So yeah. What time is it? 3:30. Some things changed, and some things don't. Let's see. Did I close it? Yeah, I think I did. Oh, here's the problem. So. What's this one? Where is behaviors? Is it this one? Is it this one? Where the hell? Am I blind? Or does anybody see TTL here? Am I blind? Edit? Okay, here it is. Yeah, they just hide it. The stupid console just hides it. So the time to live. So I've already. Oops. I've already seen this. So this. The assets that create this website for me is cached. If you guys live on the East Coast of the United States, if you go here, if you go to HealthyGamerWorkshop.com, it would probably be different because your edge locations is probably different from mine. So you might get an updated version of this. However, for me, you either need to wait 15 minutes or I can say, dude, just invalidate the cache. Just invalidate the cache. And this will like clear it everywhere, and I'll be able to see the latest updates. And this is fine. Like, you don't usually want to do this. Let's be real. But if we just want to see it, let's take a look. Let's take a look at it. And this takes a while because CloudFront is a global service. Like it's a global service. It has to go through every edge location and say, okay, make sure you clear it out everywhere here. If I refresh the page now, it has the React app. To the right. Let's see, and workshop. Wait a minute. To the right. Does it still exist? No. Okay, good. Okay, good. So, where was it? Source store index. You see, like now that when you run npm run build, it doesn't insert this development key, so I can't use the Redux app tools on this page, even though this is a Redux app. You can see, however, this is actually a Redux. This is actually a React application to the right, and they use Redux, and you can see that these motherfuckers didn't remove it. Why? Come on, guys. Come on, guys. Come on. It's not hard. I just did it in like 3 lines of code. Come on. You can do better. Anyways. Yeah. like to be like real, a lot of these websites on AWS, why the hell is this started? A lot of these are React applications. So for example, I work on SageMaker. This is all React. Like I've written a bunch of code for my sections. I've written a bunch of code on. I used to work on the ground truth team, so I wrote a bunch of code on this. This is all React. This is all React. Example. A lot of these are React. Okay. So that is the end of session 4. It's been almost 4 fucking hours. Next time, what we're going to do is we have in session 3 we had an API. In the next session, we're going to integrate. We're going to consume that API in our web app, and that's basically going to take 3 hours. Also, probably there's not going to be any lecture. I don't think. We're just going to jump straight into code. So thanks a lot, guys, and see you in a couple weeks.